Far, far west from here, across the great ocean, there's a land named Vinland. A warm and fertile land, untouched by slave raiders, nor the flames of war. There, even you can live in peace. Vinland Saga, on the outset, looks like a typical battle manga, masked in a Viking setting. But when you peel back the layers, you get a story of what it means to be a true warrior, the lengths one would go to protect their heritage, the idea of Christianity and its conflicts with Norse beliefs, and even what it means to love. Vinland Saga started as a shonen and weekly shonen magazine in April 2005 by author Makoto Yukimura, eventually moving to a seinen format later that year. Based off Norse sagas of the same name, Yukimura crafts his story around these events of real historical figures, including that of Lucky Leif Erikson, Thorkel the Tall, and our protagonist, Thorfinn. Starting off in 1013 AD, Vinland Saga follows the Danes' conquering of England, with King Sweyn having conquered the majority of Britain and is nearing his end of his life. His sons, Canute and Harold, are the ones who must succeed him, and this is where the early conflict of Vinland Saga lies. We then centre around Askeladd and his mercenary band, who perform various tasks for the Norse in exchange for funds. Thorfinn, our protagonist, is one member of this band, who cares not about the money, but one-on-one duels with Askeladd, with the intention to kill him each time they duel. I won't spoil the context of why Thorfinn wants to kill Askeladd, but it is made extremely clear if you read the story. Without going into spoilers, what I just explained is only the prologue of a story. Think of it like the Golden Age in Berserk. There is a clear defining end to this portion of Vinland Saga, which changes the characters completely and their motivations. Again, I'm being vague and I won't spoil what that is, but it's worth checking out. Vinland Saga's strongest asset is its character building, wrapped up in its historical setting. Yukimura manages to take the foundations of these historical sagas and create his own interpretations and motivations for characters. Take one of my favourite characters in this series, Thorkel the Tall. If I had to sum up Thorkel, it would be that of a Viking Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. Thorkel lives for the fight, and nothing more. It's hard to call him a straight up villain, as he is on no one's side, he seeks only the strong. In fact, Thorkel will often betray his fellow Norse to be on the losing side of the battlefield so he can have a challenge, as seen in the early London chapters of Vinland Saga. Although this seems one-dimensional from the outset, Yukimura does a fantastic job later of explaining Thorkel's interpretations of what a true warrior and fighter should be, which develops him further from a bloodthirsty brute. Many characters in Vinland Saga follow distinct character arcs, and often behave completely differently, which is rationalised and defined within the actions they take within the story. It never feels out of place, and it is extremely rewarding when you see these characters grow and develop as individuals. Thorfinn, our protagonist, in the beginning of the story, is a completely different character to the Thorfinn in the current story. It's not just about changing one current trait, such as acting kinder. Thorfinn completely changes his personality and his outlook on the world, which in a way is very brave and daring for a protagonist of a battle manga and especially a seinen. The same can be said for the character Canute, who is a great parallel for Thorfinn, and they take completely opposite directions of where they begin and how they end up. Both look and act like completely different people, and it all feels earned by the current point in the manga. Let's talk about the art. When this series started out in Weekly Shonen magazine, the art was acceptable, but nothing stood out at the reader. However, when it switched to a seinen format, the art became a lot more detailed, and Yukimura demonstrated how much he excels in character expression. Look at this panel of the character Askeladd. So much can be analysed, from the veins popping through his head to the frenzied look in his eyes. Someone who has never read Vinland Saga can immediately see how this character is feeling without any dialogue to accompany it. Now, compare this to a panel of Askeladd from when Vinland Saga was being published in Weekly Shonen magazine, and you can really see how Yukimura improved his art over time. If you are already familiar with Vinland Saga, then you may be wondering why I haven't gone into Askeladd more, and to cut it short, I don't think I could cover the brilliance of his character in just a short recommendation video. To those of you who don't know, Askeladd serves a key role within Vinland Saga, and his sarcastic and cocky attitude, which is layered over a proud and introspective man, is expertly told by Yukimura, and with one of my favourite backstories of all of manga, I apologise for being too vague, but his character and his arc is something that everyone should experience for themselves. You can also tell how much Yukimura loves the historical setting he is telling. At the end of several of the early volumes, there would be comments from Yukimura explaining his love of the setting, and how much research he performs to bring the series to life. There is a real passion here, which is reflected through his work. Through this research and passion of Norse lore, Yukimura takes concepts such as Valhalla and flips them. Yukimura has a certain worldview on violence, and he applies these to Norse mythos. Valhalla is portrayed in Norse myth as sometimes obtained when someone dies as a proud warrior who dies in battle, but Yukimura explores what does it mean to be a true warrior. If a true warrior is someone who cuts down people in battle and is bloody and violent, then the concept of Valhalla may not be as glorious as it would appear to be to the Norse, and this panel I'm going to show you right here, with no context, may put that point across to you. This idea was echoed on early in Vinland Saga. The quote, "No one is your enemy," is uttered to a young Thorfinn by his father, Thors. Thors, who is possibly the strongest character in Vinland Saga, unmatched by anyone, is a pacifist, which in this world of Vikings is seen as cowardly. Despite this, however, Thors used to be a Jomsviking himself, the elite of the Vikings. For a Jomsviking to turn his back on violence is unheard of in this world, and the way Thors rationalises this and sets Thorfinn's path into motion with the words, "No one is your enemy," has fantastic payoffs for Thorfinn's character development. And that is where Vinland Saga truly shines. It's a story with fantastic character building, with excellent payoffs. One of my favourite manga arcs of all time centres around Thorfinn just doing busy farm work. From the outset, it seems extremely meandering and boring. There would sometimes be entire chapters of Thorfinn doing actions such as just cutting down trees and doing general farm busy work. However, it all culminates in self-reflection within our protagonist, and the destination he gets to makes him my favourite character in the history of manga, and that is something I don't say lightly. And this is just from an arc where he's just doing simple farm work. Honestly, it does get more intense as the arc goes along, but it starts out very calm, and compared to previous arcs in this series, it's kind of like a tonal whiplash. And if that isn't a testament to Yukimura's writing, then I don't know what is. Studio Wit, who are known for doing anime adaptations, such as Attack on Titan, announced that they are going to be doing an adaptation of Vinland Saga. Not much information has been released apart from the announcement itself, but if you are one not commonly to read manga, then that option is available to you when the anime eventually drops. However, I would recommend to all watching this video to please read Vinland Saga. With the combination of Yukimura's fantastic art, character building, and his interpretation of Norse concepts, they all culminate into a fantastic tale which is still ongoing to this day. I apologise for the vagueness of my descriptions, but Vinland Saga is something which should not be spoiled and should all be experienced for itself. Vinland Saga is a journey of massive proportions. The name of Vinland itself has a deep meaning to the story. Vinland not only represents the destination that the characters must reach, but the location itself represents and means different things to everyone involved. It also has some of the best girls in manga history. I mean, look at Hild, look at her.